Hello and welcome to the Construction Record Podcast. I'm digital media editor Warren Fry. This week we have an interview between Daily Commercial News staff writer Angela Gismondi and Natasha Ferguson. She's founded the EthelFox Construct Group, which now employs more than a dozen women from a variety of ethnicities and backgrounds, which accounts for 70% of her workforce. They were recently recognized for their work when EthelFox Construct Group was named one of the best businesses in Canada by the Canadian Business Review Board. In early 2021, EthelFox was also selected to participate in the Starter Company Plus Female Founders Program, which is offered through Enterprise Toronto. The program helps female-led businesses by assisting them with their operations and marketing initiatives. With that, let's listen to Maura Ferguson's interview with Angela.
So can you tell me a little bit about your company, how it all started? Just kind of start at the beginning.
Okay, sure. So my company, it's called EthelFox Construct Group. I started it about 8 years ago when I met my husband. He's a tradesman in roofing and carpentry. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I saw the business and I thought, wow, this is a really good business, mostly because, when's the last time you saw a house without a roof? So we started that business and it went really, really well. My husband left and went to work in the union and I just kept going. So the first company was Sky Limitless Roofing. And then after we got into landscaping and architecture and garden design, and we opened Sky Garden Landscaping. And then maybe about 3 years after that, we were getting a lot of work, but it was seasonal. And so we decided to, I decided to dip my toe into the interior side of the construction. So interior and exterior. And this was around maybe about a year before the pandemic. So yeah, 2018. And then it just kind of we really, really took off just before the pandemic and while it was going on. And then I decided to kind of change my branding. And I named the company after my mother, my late mother, Marian Ethel Osborne, who passed away last year. So literally in September of last year, I was going through this crazy sort of time where I was losing my best friend, and she had this really crazy cancer, and it took her out in a year. And during this time before she passed, 2 months before, she was helping me build this brand. I designed the logo, and she chose, that logo that you see now. And I decided to honor her and name it after her and my youngest daughter, Fox. So that's pretty much from beginning to end what's happened up to this point.
Right. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. That's a touching story.
No. Yeah. It was difficult.
No kidding. But you turned it around. What was your company always focused on women and employing women in the construction industry, or did that kind of evolve?
That kind of evolved because, with anything, like when you start it, I'm not like starting it and being like, yeah, I'm going to, get women involved. It was kind of like the experiences that I started having, throughout running the company, and more so, the last, I would say 5 years, where it just became apparent to me that there weren't a lot of women in the industry, mostly because I couldn't find any of them to hire. And then it was just like, obviously, I'm a person of color, so I already faced certain discrimination. So this was like, oh, okay, so this is like, I'm a woman, and now also I'm being sort of like this gender biased narrative is being attached to me. And so a couple of things happened that really made me think to myself, like, wow, something needs to change here. And that was me going into a retail store that sells work clothes and realizing that there was no section for women, and me having to buy men's clothing. I won't mention who the retail store is, but I gave them a call on their customer service, and I was pretty, livid. I was like, I just came from your store and I'm in here and there's like a little cubby off to the corner with some stuff in it for women, and there was just nothing there. And they didn't really care. They actually ended up hanging up the phone on me. So that was the first thing. And then just the regular things that I go through, owning a company like this, whether it was hiring sub-trades or men that just weren't taking me seriously, right? So it starts off amazing, and then they want to know, where are you getting your work from? How are you able? They see how you kind of, are working with your clients, and there's sort of like ego there, and then all of a sudden they're trying to mess up your jobs. I've had that happen to me several times. Like, even if you're paying them a ton of money, you're still having to, chase them out. And I don't know why they're like that, but that's how it is. And I've almost been attacked on my job sites. There's just like a bunch of things that happened where I was just kind of like, this is crazy. And then also just speaking to other women in trades, and there's not a lot of us, on Instagram and stuff, people would be reaching out to me, and we'd have this kind of common collective where we'd be like, oh, this is real, and this is happening. The cat calls, the whistles. Oh, did you do this work? Oh, let me lift that for you, or kind of thing like that. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my experience and why I started my nonprofit, A Woman's Work.
Right. And so can you tell me about that and how you help women, how you empower women, hire women, and all that?
So we've just kind of started this journey, and I like to call it a movement because, I mean, just from what I've done so far, I've gotten so much feedback from women and men alike. And basically, A Woman's Work is an organization that supports women in the trades through self-esteem programs and training sessions, and career involvement, getting people involved in the trades, and we basically want to open up the doors for women to these trades, because there's a lot of people, and just not women but men as well, that don't know how lucrative it can be being in the construction industry. So yeah, that's pretty much what A Woman's Work is.
Okay, so A Woman's Work is separate from the EthelFox company then?
We're a nonprofit organization separate from the company. Yeah.
Okay. And so can you tell me what, is it early days still? Like, you just started the company?
It is. The nonprofit, yeah. So it is early days. We're getting a lot of support. Our plan is to be able to launch these sessions and the whole entire program next year, on the latter part of the year. We're working, with some of the city organizations, the City of Toronto organizations. We've just kind of started, but it's been the support has been amazing. And just because I know that, Canada and Ontario specifically, they're into kind of introducing people to the trades, which is amazing. We're teaming up with great partners. So yeah, we're really excited about getting this going and moving.
Okay, and can you share any of those partners yet, or is it too early to do that?
It's too early to do that. It's going to be a surprise, but when we launch next year, yeah, you're going to definitely see some strong partnerships there.
Okay, and what kind of programs do you think you'll be offering?
So programs to teach trades, like right now, yeah, there are schools that teach some trades, but there's no one specific school that actually teaches how to drywall or tile on its own. And if you can imagine this, if you were to take a 1 or 2 month course in drywalling, and you actually finished and you did really well and did some amazing work, this could be a freelance opportunity for you, a freelance company for you, hobby, where you could post something on Kijiji and say, you'd get maybe 3 or 4 clients asking you to patch a hole or to do some drywall, and you could make $1,000 to $2,000 within 1 week. So those are the kind of experiences that I want to introduce to women. Is being able to take care of their family, using their skills. It's quite easy, even if it's not something that you want to do as a job. It's something that you can do for yourself in your own home. I had an interview recently where a lady was telling me about the fact that she wanted to put some pictures up on her wall, and she was waiting for somebody to come because she wanted to do it right and didn't want to, and she was waiting for somebody to come and do this for her, where she would pay them. And I thought to myself, as I'm listening to her, I said, well, why don't you just do it yourself? Pick up a drill and, get some drywall screws and screw it in yourself, or, find one of those adhesives and put it up yourself. And she was kind of like, well, I'm afraid to do that. Well, 2 weeks later, she sends me an email. She sends me a picture of her her pictures up and what she used and how she bought herself a drill. So that's always very inspiring for me and interesting, because people don't know until you kind of say to them, well, yeah, you can do this, right?
Right. So now for women's work, how would you, first of all, is it open to any women at all who want to join?
Absolutely. And men too. I mean,
Okay.
I'm getting a lot of men. I've caught a couple of men say, are you discriminating? And I'm like, well, why would I discriminate against men? Then I would be no better than the industry, certain people in the industry, right? So yeah, it's open to all women, especially women just getting out of high school, college, people who are, looking for a second career, who are looking for a career change with the pandemic. It has been really difficult for people, especially in the restaurant industries and, other industries that people have lost their jobs, and they're just kind of looking for a new start,
Right.
So definitely women coming over from other countries, that are just new to Canada. These are all opportunities that these type of women can use for themselves.
Okay, now what do you think is the benefit to joining? What will they get out of it?
Well, they're going to get, education. They're going to learn about a trade or trades, which will allow them to, get a job, freelance, hobby, teach others how to do things for themselves, be more independent. So there's a lot of opportunities there to create independence and to create a career and to make money.
And how do you envision this happening, like the programming? Do you think it'll be virtual, in person, a mix of both?
Well, you know what? I'm really hoping that it will be in person. I hope that this, the pandemic will slow down, and as things are starting to open up, we're getting back into restaurants, and obviously we have the mask, but I'm hoping it'll be both, a bit of both, virtual and in person.
Okay. And so right now you're just working on getting those partnerships, getting those programs in place, and you plan to launch next year. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And sorry, did you say what time next year? Like by the end of the next year?
It's going to be at the end of next year. We're not trying to be a school at all. We are trying to, provide training and hoping that, I've got a lot of my competitors, people who are competing. I don't want to compete with any other construction companies. I'd like to invite them to, once, people are finished with the programs, to invite them to come in as an intern or just, if they're really good, to hire them. I had a roofing company contact me and say, hey, we love what you're doing. Company owned by males. And I said, well, I responded and I said, well, I hope I can count on you to take on one of our, students or one of our participants into your fold. And they got back to me and said, yeah, well, absolutely. Let's keep in touch. So that's the kind of, camaraderie and collaboration that I would like to see.
So will it only be roofing, or will it be different kinds of training?
Oh, it will be all sorts of training: tiling, drywall, hardscape, softscape, everything, even, an introduction to plumbing and electrical, and, with strong trainers.
Okay.
At the helm.
For my own knowledge, your company, EthelFox, do you do primarily roofing?
Oh, no. We do everything from landscape, outdoor, garden design, roofing, all types of roofing systems, interiors and exterior builds. So interior renovations, exterior renovation, builds, tear down and builds, additions, home additions. So we pretty much have our feet wet in everything. We're quite busy, actually.
No kidding, especially now with the pandemic, everybody wanting to renovate.
Yeah, well, oh my gosh, for sure. I mean, you people are sitting at their home looking at that wall or that garden, or their roof that's a hot mess. So
Mm.
definitely we've been busy, as well as a lot of companies have been busy and contractors have been busy, which is one of the reasons why we actually do need to get more people in the trades, and why the Canadian government's pushing for that, because we do need more people in the trades for sure.
My last question, I know you talked about this a bit, but if you could just reiterate what it's like for you being a woman in construction and what you're doing about it.
There's barriers to entry for so many different things, and it's to be expected that when you're in an industry like this where it's male dominated, you're not going to have the easiest time. Doors are not going to just fling open for you. So, at times, I'm a very positive person. So at times when things have happened, I just kind of get back up on my horse and keep riding. And even if I've had these experiences, I'm doing something about it now. And this is my way of creating this sort of mission and this movement to do something so that other people that are coming into the industry are going to have a different sort of experience than I did. So I can't tell you, I know what construction has done for me in my life and my family, both, on a physical and emotional and mental and also financial level. It's been really great to me, but there are some things in the industry that needs to change, and I'm willing to lead that. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. And I look at it in a very positive way, anything that has happened to me, because I get to change things, right?
Is there anything that I missed or anything else you want to add?
No, thank you. Thank you so much for interviewing me. Every interview and every time I get to speak, it's building my platform, and that platform is going to be able to help others. So I'm really happy about that.
Thanks for listening to the Construction Record Podcast. You can hear us on Apple Music, Amazon Music, or Spotify, or on the Daily Commercial News or Journal Commerce websites. Thanks for listening.